This is one of the last videos that I'm making. There'll probably be maybe 5 or maybe 10. But this video involves a law office in Orchard Lake, a great place. Michael Stillman's law office. I tried to look for the building, but apparently Google may be off, or it's a fake law firm, a virtual law firm. Because their pinpoint is actually in a garbage can. But having looked online, it seems that a lot of the reviews. Now I want to also implicate 3 judges in Saginaw County in the district court, the civil division, that are facilitating law firms like this. Judge Clark, Judge Hoffman, and Judge Elaine Fichter. They're facilitating law firms like this. In my case, in other cases, I've seen people on disability, people unemployed, people, veterans such as me, that are disabled, whether they have pension or not, they are allowing these cases to go forward. And they are actually defaulting for the plaintiff and allowing these firms to guarantee wages and to freeze bank accounts. Again, Judge Clark, Judge Hoffman, and Judge Fichter in Saginaw County District Court Civil Division. Not only do they facilitate them, but they encourage these firms to target people who are disabled or poor and disabled veterans. And I have more than informed these courts and these firms about my situation, and the cases go forward. The Stillman law firm has held on to a case for $1,300, which I did allocate that at one time I had this particular card called the Petals card, but I found out that my account was hacked. I found out there was cloned cards because cards disappeared in the mail, and then I was a victim of identity theft in addition to this, and they still push this case forward. They've been sitting on this case for almost 2 years. And like I said before, I did allocate. Yeah, one time I had a Petals card, but I'm a victim of identity theft. People have cloned my cards. They have done so much to my accounts. They have, then people use this argument. This is, I heard Judge Clark's courtroom. Well, you were still paying the bill. There's a such thing as auto pay, Judge Clark. You know, why don't you come out of your office and deal with the things that real people deal with instead of being protected by your bureaucracy that protect corrupt judges like you in Saginaw County. And I don't know if this is the African-American Judge Clark or the Caucasian Judge Clark, because I've been in front of both of them virtually and in person. I don't know who's who. With that being said, this particular firm, Stillman Law, Michael Stillman Law, I don't have their P number, but apparently they sent me notice in the mail that they're going after my tax refund when they know that I'm a disabled veteran. And I don't know their connection to some Christian singing group, but they should be ashamed of themselves. Really. Yeah, Stillman has some kind of a connection, and Tuscola County was some kind of singing group. Like I said, they should be ashamed of themselves. And that being said, those judges are facilitating firms like this. And it seems, reading through the Google reviews, I mean, right now we're just dealing with the Michael Stillman Law, but out of Orchard Lake. But it looks like they're facilitating cases for people of identity theft. I saw some reviews on there. People that are like, I have no idea what this debt is. This is not mine. They prosecuted me, and they threatened me. They threatened to freeze my bank accounts and take my income if I didn't make a payment plan with them, or I didn't pay this, or I didn't, deal with them. So these are the kind of practices that are supposed to be prohibited by law, threatening people. Even excessive litigation clients are supposed to be protected by law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and other stuff that is out there. So this should be another complaint for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Michael Stillman Law Office. They deal with, they have pool attorneys. Some of these attorneys are not even in Michigan. Some of them are not even in Saginaw, Detroit, um, uh, Oakland County, Kent County. They could be anywhere. And they just bill. They come here and they bill, and they hold on to these cases forever. And they target people, especially people that are poor, people that are veterans. When not even paying attention to the fact that people are poor. If people generally have less than $400 or $500 in their bank account, they're poor. So this is just notice about another such firm. And also, I found my experience with Saginaw County District Civil that they will do ex parte. If you're doing a Zoom, they'll do ex parte. You may not even see the face of the judge. You may have a bailiff staring at you, trying to scare you. Especially bailiffs, some of them look like they came over from DOC, which doesn't intimidate me at all. I think somebody, who is a DOC corrections officer, and then they go court, to being a bailiff. That just says to me that they like power, and there's a good chance that they like hurting people. It's about power for them. You see it in DOC all the time. The guys that stay there for life and they love it, it's about power and control. And some of them are just as bad as the people who are behind the iron bars. Sometimes worse. So, I had experience when I was in court. A big old giant bailiff stared at me the whole time. Didn't intimidate me at all. Actually, it made me sick to my stomach. Because I know it's probably his other job is probably DOC. He's a CO. So that being said, these firms will target people and grab debts that they find out there, especially debts that involve identity theft, which is very hard to prosecute, and it is even harder for somebody to prove, that it wasn't them. They'll grab these cases to target people. Michael Stillman Law out of Orchard Lake. And there's another firm. What was that? Mary Jane something. Mary Jane. I can't remember the last name. That's another firm that grab these kind of debts, and they refuse to show original original identity. That your identity was verified in the beginning. They refuse to show the original debt, and they also refuse to investigate anything. They'll have lots of forms and lots of claims to try to muddy the water, but in the end, they do absolutely nothing except blame you. And many of these firms will have P.O. boxes. That way you can't serve them back. Not without filing a dozen motions. So you go through the whole process, which drains your bank account. You got to go through the whole process of serving them. Even though my experience with Saginaw County District Civil Court, they will jump from in-person service directly to first-class mail, just like that. Bam. Not going through personal service through a letter or through a courier. They will just jump right to first class mail. That way it's easier to litigate people. But yeah, when you want to do the same to the plaintiff in your case, they will give you hassles in the district court office, the civil court. Some of those ladies are rude, they're aggressive, they're condescending, very difficult to deal with. The older ones, the ones in the front. I've had to deal with them, and I despise dealing with them. And when you bring it up to the court about the abuse, they don't do anything about it. They say, "Oh, write a letter to the chief judge." So that means basically you got people working in the court system, bureaucrats that are unaccountable. Sounds a lot like that Kim Davis person. I'm not getting involved in the marriage, gay marriage thing, the court has said what it is. But then again, if somebody's right to get married, it's not in my church. It's not me signing the document. So what is it? Why should I stand in their way? Especially when current case law says that it's legal. So and again, I wouldn't want to venture in somebody else's life. It's not my home. It's not my church. It's not my family. So why would I want to venture and step on somebody else's rights as a human being that are now also um, stand. What am I looking for? Current law. So precedence. There's the word. So that being said, there's a certain amount of dignity that everybody deserves. So I don't find that it's okay for a court clerk to threaten her office or to refuse to sign documents for something that's legal. She doesn't want to sign it. Okay, it violates your conscience. Step back and let somebody else sign it. I mean, she wasn't even I believe she was an assistant clerk anyway. I think she was assistant county clerk. Regardless, doesn't matter. But I'm not going to infringe on somebody else's right. I believe in due process, and due process has said that people can marry the same gender. So, that's it. I'm going to leave it alone. Conservatives may like that, but hey, I'm not going to, take away human rights of another person, especially when they're enshrined in law. Because someday maybe they'll come from this very channel, or they'll come from my weapon, or they'll come saying, "Oh, we're taking your license. Driving is a privilege. It's not a right. Read your Bill of Rights." So I'm not going to do the same to another person. With that being said, this again back to this law firm. This firm, they will grab identity theft, um, charge offs, and they will litigate people, and they will get facilitated by the court. And I'm just putting that out there. Some of these debts, they're not even properly investigated, and definitely they're not providing original documentation and proof that somebody's identity was verified for every charge. Because last time that I read the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which was amended by outgoing Obama administration, it was amended to make it more detailed regarding the original debt they have to verify. So if you're requesting to have individual charges verified, uh, I could venture to see within the next 5 or 10 years that courts are going to say, you know what, we're reading this more conservative now, and you need to verify those debts because the amount of money that Americans are paying and credit collection people, debt collectors, debt litigators, they're the ones making all the money. It doesn't help families at all because at least half of these agencies, these companies or firms, they won't even correct your report. They'll say, "Well, we don't do line item delete. We'll notate it's settled," which doesn't help your credit at all. It's still there. It says, "Okay, the debt's settled. It's no longer active," but the debt's still there. They won't do a line item delete, which will return your credit back to the way it was before it was a charge off. You lose the credit bounce, it won't go up, but it doesn't hurt you anymore either. So that being said, these are some of the firms that are targeting people for um, identity theft accounts, or accounts that may have been used by other people, and they're litigating you, and they're going after your income. They are ruining your life. They are making threats of taking property, threats of taking your tax refund. Mary Jane something, I wish I could remember. Mary Jane Elliott. Mary Jane Elliott debt collection, and Michael Stillman law. One is out of Novi, and the other is out of Orchard Lake, both in Michigan.